What is Bill Gates doing in Africa? So, guys, apparently, every time something happens or something pops up in Africa, people will leave comments in different YouTubers, including mine, was Bill Gates in Africa? And it seems like every time Bill Gates goes somewhere, Bill Gates shit starts to happen. People start getting sick and or they start reacting not in a great way to the arm tickets that he helps back and or create. When I mean back, I mean financially backs a lot of the companies that are creating these arm tickets that are supposed to make society better or make civilization better and or last longer. And in a lot of the cases, these people are reacting poorly to it. Now, there was a huge story that got buried. In fact, this was the first time I heard of YouTube actually deleting videos and or entire channels, which was almost 10 years ago when there was a study, not a study, excuse me, when there was an incident in an African village where people were being inoculated against, I don't know what it was. I can't recall what the virus was, but they were being inoculated against something. And the entire town wound up passing away. They found one survivor in the entire town. And I think that kid was a baby or something, like something or a kid or whatever that couldn't take it for whatever reason. And that was the lone survivor of that entire village. Now, the woman who reported this happened to be a town over from that town that was infected. She did a video on it, and they wind up deleting the video on YouTube. So I found that to be interesting. And of course, she said that Bill Gates was there in that town helping these people get better, and they didn't. They just never got better. They all ended up in the ground. Again, that was a story according to this lady who was in the neighboring town. And when you look it up, you cannot find the story anymore. It was a story 10 years ago when I looked it up. I couldn't even tell you the pronunciation of that town, even if I tried and I looked at it. All I know is that she talked about it. She had the articles from the African Times or whatever it was back then, and you can no longer find that story. So I wonder why. Yeah, go figure. With that, Bill Gates has been traveling to and from Africa for the last 30 years because he's inspired to help the poor Negroes of Africa. I want to give them life and let them live longer. I'm going to test this shit on them because no one cares. There are a lot of poor places around the world, and Africa is his focus. Then you start to find out why is it his focus? Well, because he also backs company that mines in Africa, mining cobalt, copper, and diamonds. The money makers, especially cobalt. So, of course, guys, over the next 30 years, he's here coming up with food programs. He was trying to help out with a palm plantation program that they were having trouble get off the ground. That was back in 2022. He is doing a satellite connectivity program for the Democratic Republic of Congo, the entire country. That was actually this year, September 2024. Bill Gates' mining company expanded, I think, from Tanzania into the Congo. That was last year of 2023. Same year, he comes out, or his company that he's financially backing, comes out with an oral arm ticket, and you can't call it an arm ticket because it's going in the mouth, but an oral arm ticket for polio. They also developed an arm ticket for pneumonia. Now, with pneumonia, there were a lot of kids getting sick. I don't know if any kids died, but they were having a bad reaction to the pneumonia. And a lot of those stories, guys, they stay under wraps because he is undoubtedly buying out the president of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo is buying out that president because nothing gets reported out of there anymore. But the villagers, the people neighboring to those towns that watch these people get sick or not make it or have these bad reactions to these arm tickets, they talk about it. They still have phones. They get on the internet. They put those stories on there, and you have to be Johnny on the spot to catch those stories and upload them record them so that you can keep passing it along. A lot of the people in Africa do not like Bill Gates. A lot of countries know what he's up to, is why he's been kicked out of, if I'm not mistaken, 3 African countries so far. It might be more down the line. But what he does is he floods a lot of the presidents with money, and they're called donations, and then he tries to figure out or help them out whatever problem they're having, whether that's water, plantation problems, farming, you name it. He tries to help them out with that so he looks like the good guy. Meanwhile, he's not the good guy. Like, not at all, not even a little bit. So when people ask, was Bill Gates in that area that has that new disease coming out? Yes, he was. He was exactly in the same location, rather the same region in the same area that thing broke out of. There he was. So of course, guys, you cannot call this a coincidence. When wherever he goes, something Bill Gates happens, people start fucking not making it anymore. They're in the ground, they're in heaven, however you want to look at it. That's when this man shows up. He's like the Mothman prophecies, right? He shows up and shit happens. Other than that, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel.